2018 Mustangs and up to $15,000 off remaining 2017 Expeditions. Stop this search. Call Mike Birch.
And good morning. You're listening to the Big Dog, WIFO-FM in Jessup, 105.5 on your FM dial. Butch Hubbard here with you along with Bob Morgan, 7:59 on this Monday morning, the 26th day of February. It's now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear, by Jessup Premium Storage, by Republic Services, and also brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply on Northeast Broad Street in Jessup. Bob, we got a house full this morning. I'll go and let you take it away here and introduce everybody and talk about the subjects.
Yeah, as we expected. School Superintendent Jay Brinson here. Got to talk to him about certain things, but he's brought some guests in here first. So everybody knows the ROTC program's been brought back to Wayne County High School. He's got the ROT instructor here, so I'll let him do the honors and introduce him.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm not going to try to steal Mr. Adams' thunder and introducing the most popular man on campus right now. We're just extremely excited. We're extremely excited about bringing ROTC back to our school system. And I'll let Mr. Adams, if he'll expand on that process and just how things kind of fell into place. We've been pursuing this for several, really over 2 years as far as discussions and planning. And it is a process. I'll, pat Mr. Adams on the back for doing all that legwork and getting it ready. But we were fortunate that we got kind of a call, hey, you can get your program this semester in the middle of the year, and that's not the norm. And we scrambled and made it happen. And then the next part of just being lucky and living right, I guess, is being able to, attract and hire Lieutenant Colonel Mark Perry here. But Mr. Adams, if you'll introduce him.
Okay, let me introduce Bo. Bo Adams, the principal of Wayne County High School. Good morning, Bo.
Hey, good morning. Good
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Glad to be here.
And you're honored to introduce your guest this morning.
Absolutely. First, I want to thank our students and community. They came to us and said we want this program back at Wayne County High School. Our board honestly knew this was important. It was something our board, Dr. Brinson, supported. And our students really wanted this. We did a sign-up list to see if the students really wanted to have this program, and we had over 100 people signed up really in the first couple of days, students. And from that, we were able to start working with the folks out at the Hunters Air Force Base and get this program going. And so we've had it started this semester, like Dr. Brinson just said. We kind of found out last minute that we could get it started this year, and we were able to get the funding and get going and start looking for a good instructor, and that's what we were able to find. So I want to introduce everyone in Wayne County to our ROTC lead instructor, and that is Lieutenant Colonel Mark Perry. Go ahead.
Lieutenant Governor Mark Perry, right?
Lieutenant Colonel.
Lieutenant Colonel Mark Perry.
That's
now,
right.
Everybody knows for a long time it was the Air Force ROTC there. I actually was part of that way back in around 1970, and now it's Army. Is that correct?
That is correct. It's the Army program. He's got about close to 70 folks, young folks working with him right now, and I've been out there 2 or 3 times to see those students. They're really enjoying and learning a lot, but it is the Army program that he is installing right at this point in time.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. And we welcome you to the world-famous Butch and Bob Show. And where are you from? How did you get the post here, and where'd you come here from?
Well, sir, I'm originally from Massachusetts. My father was a soldier. I was born right outside of Fort Devens. Went off to college, did my 20 years, and then upon retiring, I've done a few things, but my favorite activity, my favorite occupation is JROTC instructor. Currently transitioning from the Atlanta, Georgia area down here to take this position and getting settled and getting things rolling.
Did you move down here by yourself? Did you bring any family with you?
Well, my wife, Lisa, came with me, and a couple of my little dogs there, and we're empty nesters, so we're trying to get settled here in coastal Georgia.
And how did you find out about this post here with the ROTC program at Wayne County High School, just starting back, and why did you decide to apply for it and come move down here?
Well, I saw it on Teach Georgia website, and I was intrigued by it. My wife has a large amount of family in the Savannah, Richmond Hill area, and her mother is aging, and it just seemed like a perfect fit to be part of a new program that I could sort of have my imprint on, and my wife to be close to her mother, and sort of a marriage made in heaven, and here we are.
Now, as Bo Adams just mentioned, there was over 100 students who decided to sign up for it. Is that boys and girls?
Yes, sir. It's co-educational, and I feel like we have something to offer both. Leadership, character development, teamwork. I think students crave that order, that structure, and we're off to a good start.
And why do you think so many of these students, right off the bat, right in the middle of the year, during the first semester, decided, yeah, I'd like to sign up for ROTC in the second semester?
Well, it's in demand nationwide. Over 1,700 schools throughout the United States offer Army JROTC. It is a very popular school elective. In Georgia, it's a pathway, and it fills a need. You know, every student's got to have something in high school, be it athletics or club, something to keep them engaged, and it benefits in a whole lot of areas like academics and socially. And JROTC can fill that niche for a lot of students. They're just craving to belong to something they can excel in, and JROTC's that program.
Okay, do you provide them, does the school, though, provide them with the uniforms and stuff like that, the things they need to look like a soldier? They all, you know, in that line?
Yeah, one of the things about getting this program when we did, we were able to get a grant that went along with the program. So the ROTC program comes with a grant that provides the uniforms, a lot of the raw materials for the students. I was in there this past week, and some of the drill rifles that came in, they were starting to learn how to flip them. I don't know the exact proper term, but to use those, to drill with those. So we do get a large shipment of supplies from JROTC, the uniforms and things of that nature. So most of that is provided, and it came with that grant.
But the question is, can the students do the rifles as well as the Army did in Stripes with Bill Murray?
We're not there yet, but I have seen he's working on them. They were doing pretty good for the first week. I was impressed. It is the wooden ones. It's the wooden ones.
They're wooden ones.
Absolutely.
Demilitarized JROTC drill rifles.
Okay. Yeah, they got the orange cap on the end of it. But what are they learning classes? Is it 1 hour per day, different classes, different? I mean, I know you can't get all 100 of them in one class. How does that work?
Well, we have 3 blocks periods during the day, about 22, 25 student cadets per period. We have a 90-minute class. We strive for a 50-50 balance between academics and physical tasks. We have 186 lessons that are basically provided and developed by the Army, and we teach those. We also teach a lot of hip pocket training, life lessons, and then we also strive for that balance of physicality. Go out and do some close order precision drill, either with or without rifles, and some physical training. So, we try to say we have the best of both worlds. We don't have to sit in that chair for 90 minutes. We can do our academic piece and then get up and learn a physical hands-on task as well.
But no Army obstacle course built yet, right?
Not yet. That'd be part of my 5-year plan, and we'll work that out in time.
Okay. Bo, where do you see the ROTC program going at Wayne County High School? I mean, it started off really well. What do you think the future will be?
Well, we're hoping to go ahead next year, first semester, add a second instructor so we can expand the program. As I said, we had over 100 students sign up, but we're only able to get about 70 of them in the class. So we have students who want to be in the class right now who can't be in the class. So first and foremost, we're going to get a second instructor to come in to work with Lieutenant Colonel Perry. Part of that's going to be we eventually got to get to the point where we add on to our building and start building onto the building to give them a permanent place to have the program. So ultimately, our goal is to have a full functioning program that can compete with the other ROTC programs across the state, with the Raiders program, things of that nature. It's going to be driven by our students who want to be in the program. And like I said, right now we have students in the building who wanted the class, and we just couldn't fit in their schedule because the schedule was already made or for whatever the reason. We believe once we have that second instructor in that we'll expand the program, and it will grow into a program that can compete in the state, and Wayne County can be proud of, just like the rest of our programs that we have at the high school.
Yeah, we had the 2 back then for years, Colonel Parker and Sergeant Wannick, all those years. So you want to add that second person on when the numbers get up there.
Absolutely. That was a big piece for Lieutenant Colonel Perry. We want him to be in place to get the program started, and he's going to play the main role of helping us find that next person that can come in, work with him, support the program, and grow the program.
Okay. And I know that this is the time of the year that you'll start planning for next semester. How are y'all getting the word out about becoming, joining the ROTC, junior ROTC there at Wayne County High School? How do students find out about it?
Well, sir, success breeds success, and what we're hoping is that our best cadets that are in the program now will recruit someone like them that is craving that leadership, that character development, that teamwork, and they'll drive them to sign up with their guidance counselor for the next semester. But, I just feel like if we can have a little bit of success this semester, that word is going to spread and people want to be associated with it.
Over the Jay, that sounds a lot like what people learn in team sports.
Absolutely, there's a lot of similarities between the two. And we know that when you leave high school and get into college and finally into the workforce, it's all about becoming a team, working toward a goal, whatever the boss is asking you to do. So, very valuable values that are taught, skills, just all around what the program brings is going to be tremendous for our students. And I commend our board. They were pretty adamant. Look, superintendent, get ROTC back in our schools. So, so I appreciate their vision, and it's going to be good for our students. There are a lot of, like what has already been mentioned, it is a Georgia pathway, so that gives them a pathway completion credential once we get everything in place. It also enables them, there's all kind of scholarship opportunities once they finish high school. If they go straight into the military, I believe they get to go in at a little higher level. Just some of the doors it opens for them is going to be great.
Okay, and of course, with the Army, it makes sense. We got Fort Stewart right here. Is that the reason why we went with the Army, not Air Force, any other one?
I think it's a better fit, to be honest with you, for the reason you just stated. Kids nowadays, they want to see, why am I taking this class? What's the link?
Right.
Well, if I can, it's feasible to say, look, I live right here in Jessup. My family's in Jessup. I can finish high school, go straight to, down the road, 30 minutes.
Do y'all take field trips over to Fort Stewart?
Absolutely, we can, sir. And to caveat one point the superintendent just made, we have many students that their parents are veterans, and that is their link as well. They saw their mother or father serve, and they're interested in it as well.
Okay, sounds good. Bob, questions, comments for the ROTC program in Wayne County?
Appreciate it, Brady. Yeah, but I'm ready to pivot to the
I can see you over there just antsy, ready to talk to Jay about something else.
We have the superintendent here to talk about what's going on with this situation with the programs that are being affected by the late news of the big payment, the $380,000 payment that the school system had to make. So, again, as we reported, frustration by you at the meeting and by board members, and you mentioned a lot of these programs that we're hoping to get, the track and the weight room facility, art classes, AP classes, all being put on hold, and a lot of people want to know if that's exactly what's going to take place, or with just this one check through all those programs, are they absolutely being put on hold?
They're absolutely being put on hold, yeah. And the reason why is, as you said, we're writing it. As a matter of fact, we're going to hand deliver today to make sure our part's paid, because that's what we owe. When you start talking about $340,000, that's a pretty good lick, unanticipated. And I'll remind you back in August, September, there was another surprise, faux I forgot, whatever you want to call it, where there was an exemption. I'll call it a credit. I don't know the exact term. It was a credit to a large employer based on equipment or something that was not included. The tax commissioner, Denise Griffith's side of it was not aware. So tax bills were already sent out. Our budgets are set based on what we think we're going to generate for as revenue off of those taxes. Well, when you take a big credit to someone, and you can't reel it back in the bills, we had to make an adjustment as far as our revenue side of over $200,000. All right, and then that's only 60% of that. So the county was, again, blindsided by that as well. They weren't aware.
Yeah, Ralph, here, he was. That's the frustrating thing.
He was exactly right on most everything he said.
That's my point. It sounds like nobody was made aware. And then they have a meeting this past week, the Tax Assessors Board, they put out this press release that says the Wayne County Board of Taxes would like to address a recent property tax refund to Weyerhaeuser, previously Plum Creek. This refund to Weyerhaeuser as a result was as a result of negotiations on land values granted to Rayonier due to court decision on Rayonier's land values. These negotiations started in November 2014 through 2017 resulted in payment for refunds, including interest. These processes are being reviewed to ensure timely and accurate process in the future. Well, this press release is about a week late and $260,000, $380,000 short, or $560,000. I mean, I don't understand what that press release states. That doesn't state anything. The question is, why did the bill that was owed sit in somebody's office for 4 years and nobody knew about it? Like I said, y'all were blindsided when they came to your office that Wednesday, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and I appreciate. I can't toot Ed Jefford's horn enough since he's come on board and what he's trying to do and the communication he's set up with me and the school system before this issue ever come about. That's been since he's walked into office. He said, "Come in and said, Jay, I want to set up. Let's meet. As often as we can, at least once a month, every 2 weeks." And we've been doing that. I've been in his office. He's been to mine. This issue come up. Him and the county attorney, come straight in my office, I think the next day, and sat down with me just to apprise me what was going on. So I certainly appreciate that. But going back to the press release, yeah, I'm a big fan of accurate and timely, job getting done. That would be great. And that is the question, timely. What is timely? I'm having a hard time understanding it, and it's not my role to evaluate or certainly get into the tax assessor board business or even the tax assessing business. That's not my role, but I do need to understand. Somebody can give me the definition of timely. What's a timely manner? Because what I see, throughout the years, this is not the first time something like this has come up. I mean, it's only been 3 years ago since the Rayonier settlement to come, and that was to the tune to the school system. Almost $700,000. So that's 3 years ago, $700,000. We've had to make almost a, $600,000 adjustment this year. Do the averages on that, and you're looking at school system. It might be where we need to really budget something in, some kind of contingency fund to address these situations. There's another issue out there right now. And right. So
we talked about that. The Altamont Bluff is out there, so we've got to wait on that. That's going to be another payment. But I want to ask you, what was your reaction when you met with the appraiser, and his response is, "It is what it is"? I mean, how did you take that? I mean, we apologize. Somebody made a mistake. We're sorry we're bringing this bill, but it is what it is. How do you take that?
I take that as I'm doing the best job that I can with what I have, and that this is the time frame, and this is how we do business. That's kind of how I take it. And there wasn't a whole lot of room for how he could improve it or whatever. And I go back to the timely part. I'm all for, if it takes money to get more staff and some help, is anything in the school system, then that's not our role. But if there's anything we can do, because we count on that in the county, just like the county does. And so, I just would like to see it a priority, and I'm sure it is. I just don't know about how many people fully understand, because it's very specific, very detailed, and very complicated. I certainly understand that.
Just want to clarify, that is what the statement was, because when I talked to him, he said he didn't make that statement. He didn't say it is what it is.
Well, I disagree with that, 100%. Because I had somebody sitting next to me if I need to verify that.
Can you verify that?
Oh, yeah.
I know that when I talked to Commissioner Ralph Hickox over the weekend, he has received tons of positive comments on his comments that he made on the Butch and Bob Show last week, that everybody said that he was right on, that he answered the questions honestly and openly. Mm-hmm. There are certain legal things that he couldn't talk about, but he received a lot of positive comments on what people wanted to hear. What they wanted to hear, but they heard what they thought was the truth.
I'll comment on that. Like I said, I agree with him 100% on just about 100% of what he's saying, and I appreciate his communication. He's certainly frustrated and is working hard as he can. But again, it's things are set up in elected officials, boards, appointees, and so you do have to work through the process and bureaucracy that we have in place.
Again, you mentioned at the board meeting that all these programs are put on hold. So how do we get those programs back on track? How do we recover from this? Because that's what the one county commissioner asked me. He said, I can't believe just one payment has put everything on hold. So explain that.
All right. again, it's not one payment. 3 years ago, it was $600,000 surprise. Back 4 months ago, I don't remember if it's September, October, there was a $200,000 surprise. Here we are in February. We got almost a $400,000 surprise. There's something else on the horizon. I mean, tell me the surprises are going to stop coming and give me something to show me that I'm going to have confidence in doing that. What I'm not willing to do is say, I'm going to hope for the best with this $50 million budget that we're trying to manage, educate children. We've never borrowed money. We're committed to that. That goes back a long time with the school system, board members, and superintendents manage that day-to-day operation, along with a good CFO and Ms. Tony Williams. And there's a lot to that. We lay people off, okay, to keep from borrowing money. When you borrow money, it's not free. They charge you. So we're not going to do that. We're in a situation with our cash flow where we are. We're at the end of an eSPLOST cycle. You know, we got to show our community and our taxpayers we're going to be good stewards of the money that they afforded us over the last 5 years, because we're going to ask them to continue that penny and renew that this coming November. I don't think they're going to have a lot of confidence that we have to go borrow $3 million just to make ends meet. What we did is we decided, but we're going to be tight going forward. What we did was we kind of pushed the timelines to complete 2 elementary schools. We built 2 schools in 2 years, and we knew that was pushing it. But we thought our kids deserved it. We wanted to hurry up and get our kids out of the old Martha Ross site for safety reasons. I hope now you can watch TV and see why that was a good thing. But it still is stretching us. The only reason we were even entertaining doing this track project that was much needed, you know, the weight room thing come on late, is we finally got some flipper money that landed. You know, it's like waiting on the great pumpkin Charlie Brown. We never know when that money's going to come, but it finally came at the tune of about, you know, $1.2 or $3 million, just over $1 million. So we decided to go ahead. We never budgeted flipper money. That's an unbudgeted stream of revenue. So we decided, look, we're going to take care of a project. The board decided that. I agree with 100%. I recommended it. They approved it. We were moving forward. Well, you start doing the math on this 200 here, 400 here. We just ate away at that 1.23 where we're kind of under. I don't even think we can't get a track done. And it's going to be kind of hard to say, are we really going to do the weight room project too without doing the track, you know, and when's the next surprise coming? And next thing you know, I'd much rather have a little bit of cushion to make sure we can get to really next January, get to December. Let's get the eSPLOST renewed. At the end of a calendar year is a tough for the school system because the way funds flow from the state and federal government. Okay, school year doesn't start until, you know, really August 1st, so you don't have to start having expenses until end August, September. Everything is on a reimbursable basis, so we have to have money in the bank, a good fund equity to kind of pay the bills, and then they reimburse us. When you start getting into your federal funds, you have to get a budget approved. This is a big, long process. Those funds really don't start flowing until after the calendar year, like January, February. So it gets tight in there. You've heard the school system talk about it. We may have to take out a TAN for a month to get through that tough time and pay it back in a month, which is not a tragedy. That's what it's there for, or those options are. But I don't think it's good business, and if it can be avoided, it needs to be avoided.
Yeah, the board didn't want to do that. You mentioned the vote in November with the eSPLOST coming up. The board has yet to lay out where the money's going to be used. And we know school buses have been discussed because the state has consistently cut back on that. So the school bus fleet is depleted and need those. You mentioned computers. They haven't really laid down a laundry list of what all is going to take place. When do you see that taking place? When will we see the list? Because the vote is coming up in November.
Good question, Bob. We're working on that now. What we're having to do is you have to plan a budget for next year, which we're in the middle, getting toward the tail end of planning our budget for next year. Well, the eSPLOST is part of it. Are we going to? Do we need to include that big ticket out of my track, or are we going to be able to do that out of, you know, another bucket of money? But we're working on that. We worked on it 2 years ago, so we got a pretty good list. We just need to update it and look and see where it's going to pan out, and then we'll certainly going to get it out in plenty of time. You know, that Kids First committee, that's been tremendous for us. Our chambers, you know, I love the direction that Christy Carter's carried the chamber and trying to promote some of the things, because in our community, We know how important education is to the workforce and economic development, and so we're going to involve them, and we'll get us a good campaign going up where we can educate the masses where they can make an educated decision in November.
Yeah, but I was excited all the schools were completed, so it wasn't where the East Bluffs money had to go to schools.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned, the board's talked about they're going to have buses and they're going to have computers. So the money only goes so far. So I just wanted to listen.
The money goes in a hurry. I mean, when you start talking about
discussion about the pool still out there as well.
Sure.
We still want a pool. So
sure. I'm on that committee that's having those discussions. So that's something we need to try to participate in at some degree. And though I can tell you, we can't afford. We can't just add a pool in the back of our gym at Wayne County High School. Not that we couldn't construct it, but because we cannot afford the liability part of it, because we want it open to the whole county. So just that, the liability part alone is just not going to make it feasible for us just to build one solely. But we certainly need to participate in it.
High school land, though, has that been talked about, the location for the pool? The board said they would give that.
The committee, that's not the first couple of choices. So we hadn't really narrowed down a site. I mean, they've talked about a couple of possibilities, but I mean, I don't think that's off the table. I hadn't discussed that with the board, but I don't think it's off the table yet.
But that's not the only site.
What's that?
You said there's other sites that.
No, I mean, there's a couple other sites around, and that's probably going to be our biggest contribution to the pool project is hopefully some area, some land that we currently have, and then we certainly going to need to. It makes it easier for us, legally and just keeping the books clean to pay a monthly maintenance fee. I mean, pools of that size are just tremendous expense monthly, so that's where we would be able to help out.
You mentioned you have a good relationship with the county minister, Ed Jeffers. He's come talk to you. You mentioned this other issue out there. They said when that would be coming to the forefront and what that payment's going to be.
And that's in the legal realm, and I certainly understand that we don't need to beat people up too bad on that. When you get lawyers involved in the legal, as you know, the legal system runs very slowly at times. But hopefully we'll get some kind of heads up. Again, the frustration from the school system as well as other folks is we're 3/4 into our fiscal budget. Well, there's not a lot of extra money unless you're just going to pull it straight out of fund equity. We're fortunate, in my opinion, that we had that flip of money that we didn't budget for as revenue, that we're able to just, you're right, we can take care of this, that deal easy. We can write it down because we're not paying any more interest on it. That's a whole other issue of having to pay interest on it. This befuddling what happened from 2014 to 2016 and that sort of thing. But
to me, that's a major issue, major part of the story is the fact that $75,000 it was just interest because it wasn't brought to the forefront that this has to be paid. So
I think it's 78, yes, sir.
That's what I don't understand either. So, and they say that's just miscommunication, but that's an expensive miscommunication. So,
agreed.
But
I think you're going to see a lot of management down from the board of commissioners, Wayne County Board of Commissioners, through the county administrator, Ed Jeffers, to the other departments. I think from what I understand, there's going to be a lot of management down in terms of oversight, request, meetings, information, things of that sort.
And there's already been some meetings. Don't let me, I don't want to disregard. There's been some meetings and some communication, and there is evidence we're going to do business a little different going forward, and that'd be great. And I hope it results in some more timely and accurate results.
I know here at the radio station, if I want to know something from somebody that works for me, they're not going to come walking in my office. I've got to go to them. And then sometimes things get done the same way for so many years that people just say, well, that's the standard operating procedure.
That's fair.
And so in the same way in your situation, if you want to know what's going on, you go talk to the principals, assistant principals, whoever the case may be, and if the board wants to know what's going on, they come to you. And I think there's going to be a lot of that in the future, that you'll have the top management talking to the different department heads and things of that sort, because as we all well know, we've seen so many times that if things go along for 10, 20, 25 years the same way, everybody says, well, that's just the way it is. And then sometimes things happen that pop up like this.
I think your quote that you gave me pretty much sums it up, and I'll quote you. It says, "This is very disappointing, and my hopes are one day the leaders of this community can figure out a plan of action to fix this problem that continues year after year after year. This affects everyone." So that pretty much sums up where
that's on the money. That's on the money, and I include myself in that, of those leaders, since I'm still sitting in this seat of superintendent. So, I sort of take ownership of my role.
And we do want to remind everybody, Ed Jeffers has agreed to come on the show. Again, he's the person that said he's going to fix this. We're looking forward to having him on the show to discuss this and see what the plan of action is to correct all the problems. But we do appreciate you coming in. Appreciate the ROTC. Once again, the new ROTC. Go ahead and introduce yourself again and explain the program, yeah.
Yes, sir. Lieutenant Colonel, retired Mark Perry. I'm proud to be here. I'm the senior Army instructor of the new Wayne County High School JROTC program. My job, my mission, is to motivate young people to be better citizens, and I've started at it, and we're off to a good start.
Wayne County's excited you're here because, as Bo mentioned, as Jay mentioned, it's something that they've been wanting for quite some time, ever since it left, to get it back. So glad you're here and wish you nothing but the best of luck, and hopefully you'll be on the show more times in the future.
Yeah, we really hope so. And also, let's talk about Wayne County High School. Principal Bo Adams here. Busy 3 months coming up right now, Bo. What's the agenda for the upcoming, let's say, seniors for Wayne County High School? I know that's always a busy 3 months for them from March, April, and May.
Absolutely. Of course, it ends with that big ceremony on May 25th, I believe, is our graduation date. Between now and then, we're just working with the seniors, make sure they've got everything that they need to get across that line. Obviously, we had Herf Jones in. That's the people who do our cap and gowns. Those actually were delivered this past week, so we'll be getting those out to students in the next few weeks, early probably April. Getting those out. So right now, just working with our seniors, making sure everybody's got what they need. So Dr. Brinson, when it's time for him to certify that they are graduates, that we've done everything that we need to do to get them to that point. Also, scholarships. That's a big part. Wayne County scholarships. Yeah. Wayne County is blessed. The students of Wayne County are blessed by all support from our community. We'll have that big honors night where we give out thousands and thousands of dollars of scholarship money. None of that comes from the high school. That all comes from our folks in the community and things of that nature, sports and that thing. A lot going on in the sports arena right now. This past week we had drama going on. We had our FFA program, 4-H programs, and pig and pig shows. Of course, we had the big baseball game. Basketball season just wrapped up. I believe it's the first time in several years. Our boys went to the second round. Our girls went to the second round. All of our sports programs are wide open right now. Track, soccer, baseball, tennis, you name it, it's all going on right now. Not to mention, we just had a group of young ladies go down to Orlando and represent Wayne County in the twirling world and brought back a first place. So a lot's going on in Wayne County High School.
Busy man, aren't you, Bo?
Bo, emphasize for the parents out there about the scholarships. Like you mentioned, Wayne County is blessed. They offer all these scholarships, but emphasize to parents, your students have to go and fill out forms and apply for those scholarships like Rotary, Kiwanis, because a lot of people ask, well, how do those kids get those scholarships? Well, they have to take the time to fill out the forms.
Absolutely. It depends. We have what we call our in-house scholarships, which is about 78 of them. There's one application, but they have to read what each scholarship requests. Some of them just want a transcript. Some of them want letters from certain people. But then we also have lists of scholarships that students can come get from us, like you said, Rotary and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, it's all incumbent upon the student to get the information, see what's required, and get it filled out. We help them to the best of our ability. I can't say enough for Miss Amy Denny. She did a workshop a couple weekends ago where students could come in, and she went over how to fill out different parts and things of that nature. So we provide them assistance, but at the end of the day, the students are the ones that are responsible for getting the paperwork, getting it turned in, and making sure it's all meets the requirements of the individual scholarship. But I've been in 3 high schools as either a teacher or administrator. I can tell you this, Wayne County is probably the best. It's not probably, is the best I've ever seen in terms of giving money out to students. If you come through Wayne County High School, you're a successful student, there's a scholarship out there that you can apply for, and you got a great chance of getting it. Our students go all over the country, and we send out a lot of money through scholarships for those students.
Up to the students to do their due diligence and apply for those scholarships. And parents and grandparents make sure, and guardians make sure your students do that.
Absolutely.
All right, Jay?
And one last thing, I'd be remiss if I didn't also mention and send out our prayers and condolences to the Kendall Keith family, passing of just a tremendous man, tremendous Wayne County and a tremendous advocate for the Wayne County school system and the students. Kendall Keith was all about the kids, and that was never any doubt. And the thing I was most impressed with Kendall and respected him. It's funny talking about him in this kind of way, because I'm certainly not anywhere close to being in the ballpark with him. But you would not outwork Kendall Keith now. He was a worker, a Trojan, a tremendous man, and there's a big vacuum he's left and with his passing. And I just think back and looking at our school system, I was thinking about over the weekend. He's had a profound effect of just about everyone in my office. I look at school building administration, those administrators, and several of our board members. So just a tremendous loss. And Kendall was one of the good guys and has one of the most respected people that's here that I have here in Wayne County.
Okay, good words. All right, that's it. Thank y'all very much for coming in this morning on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show.
Thank y'all.
All right, WIFO 105.5 FM in Jessup, Big Dog Country Radio, world-famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply on Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jessup, by Republic Services, also by Jessup Premium Storage, and Mike Birch Ford.